Monster Challenge. Is your job boring? Asked the hairy green creature on the television. No, Wagner, the werewolf, asked, talking to the TV. He finished his drink and crushed the can in his hand. Do you get tired of scaring people all day? The advertisement continued. Would you like to try something new? What about a job where you can be nice to people instead? No thanks, Wagner said, switching the channel. What is the point of being a monster? He asked. If you don't scare people and sometimes eat them. He had never liked commercials. He would rather watch ice skating than commercials, of course. Much werewolves did not have very much patience. He threw the crushed can into a trash can. I agree, said a voice with nobody. Who said that? Wagner asked. The room was very dark, except for the light from the television. He did not see anyone else, so he smelled the air. He recognized the scent immediately. Oh, it's you. I didn't know you were coming tonight. Dr. Griffin, the Invisible Man, nodded his head, but Wagner could not see it. The werewolf could, of course, smell the human. Werewolves have very good noses, but humans have very bad smells. I can never fool you, Griffin said with a laugh. He was in a happy mood. He sat down in an empty chair and picked up a newspaper. The only thing the werewolf could see was a pair of shorts and the newspaper. The Invisible Man did not like to wear a lot of clothes. He preferred to sneak around so no one could see him. They were in Count Dracula's new mansion in Virginia. It was very large and expensive. It was surrounded by a small forest. There were a lot of woods and hills in Virginia. It was a good place for monsters to live and hunt. They were waiting for Dracula to come home. He was their boss, and tonight was the monthly meeting. Everyone had to come. Attendance was mandatory for all the classic monsters, even if you had to come from overseas. Anyway, I agree with you, Wagner, Griffin said. If you are going to be a monster, you might as well scare people. He turned the page of his newspaper, but he was secretly looking at the werewolf. Wagner frowned and showed his sharp teeth. But you are not really a monster, he said. You are just a human that no one can see. That does not make you a monster. I think it depends on your definition of monster. Okay, by my definition, you are not a monster. Where is Frankenstein's creature? Take a look at the big, ugly guy. That is a monster. Be quiet, Griffin said. Keep your voice down. I think he is in the house, so his hearing is terrible. Well, I cannot argue with you. Old Frankie is one of the world's most horrible monsters. The Invisible Man agreed. I cannot compare to him. He is much more horrible and scary than I am. You are not scared at all, the werewolf interrupted. But, Griffin said, ignoring the insult, Frankenstein's creature is so stupid. He can never be a leader. Do you know what I mean? He does not have much potential. You don't know him very well. He is smarter than he looks. Besides, no one said you must be intelligent to be a monster. I realize that, Griffin said, but to make a real impact on the world, you have to be smart. Look at me. I'm a doctor. Oh, a doctor. Big deal. I guess if you want to be a boss, you should be smart, Wagner said. But most of us are not interested in power. In fact, most of us are happy staying hidden. We don't need a lot of attention. We don't need to be important. We scare a random person once a month or eat somebody once in a while, but we are not hungry for power. You should know that by now. I think that is the problem, Griffin said. We need to be better organized. We need to be smarter. Then we could take over the world. The world yawned. The invisible man was not paying attention. He always talked about the same things, and Wagner had heard this speech before. The invisible man was all interested in taking over the world. It was his obsession. Wagner walked into the kitchen to make microwave popcorn. If you want to rule the planet, go ahead, he shouted from the kitchen. Nobody's stopping you. I cannot do it by myself. I need the other monsters. We have to work together as a team. Most of the others do not care about the stuff, Wagner said. He walked back into the living room a few minutes later. He was carrying a bowl of popcorn. The werewolf changed the channel again. There was nothing good on. He turned the television off and sat up. With the television off, the room was completely black. Hey, it is too dark in here, Griffith complained. I cannot see in the dark. I can, Wagner said. He walked behind the visible man's chair. He grabbed the newspaper and turned apart. Rah, Griffin yelled. So, the wolf said, now you know what it is like when you can't see somebody. It is annoying, isn't it? I can't help being invisible, Griffin said. I didn't ask to be this way. Yes, you did. You made the potion which turned you invisible. Well, Griffin said, tripping over a small table. Turn a light on, please. Somewhere in the darkness outside, a dog howled. A door opened, and a breeze of air came into the room. Dracula walked in without making a sound. Good evening, he said. He flipped on a light switch with a long finger. What are you two talking about? We are talking about monsters being dumb, said the invisible man. I see, Dracula said. I hope you're not referring to me. The old vampire looked directly at Griffin.